Good afternoon. Welcome to the Committee of the Whole meeting of Monday, March 10th. I call the meeting to order. We have a few opening comments. Tony, can I start with you?
Sure. Thank you to all of the public there that attended the Public Information House open session on Wednesday. Around 350 attendees, so best attended event ever. So congratulations to our admin people who organized such a successful event, and thanks for putting it all together for us.
Wonderful. Thank you, Erica. You had a lot to do with all that happening, so thank you. Stephanie?
Thank you. The Badlands Community Facility is partnering with Amber Dawn Wellness to host a weekend of fitness, wellness, and relaxation. The Empower and Peace Retreat is April 25th to the 27th and is limited to 50 participants. So make sure you get registered. Contact the Badlands Community Facility to register before it's too late.
Thank you. Patrick?
Thank you. Just wanted to note for residents that Alberta Transportation is making changes to Highway 838 at St. Anthony's School. The speed limit between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. on school days will be 30 kilometers an hour within the school zone. The speed limit will remain 70 kilometers per hour outside the school zone. Alberta Transportation has let the town know that ample signage will be installed in the area. Questions about this can be forwarded to Alberta Transportation at 403-823-1788.
Thank you, Patrick. Tom?
Yes, I'd just like to thank Lynn Fabric and her organizing crew for the excellent Truth and Reconciliation blanket exercise that she put on yesterday. There were probably 25, 30 people who attended, and it was very, very good information, very emotional situation when they got into some of the stories. So we are very fortunate to have someone like Lynn in the community that organizes these things. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom. Any additions to the agenda? Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda, please? Tony?
I move that council adopt the agenda for March 10, 2025, Committee of the Whole meeting as presented.
Seconder, please. Patrick? All in favor? Carrie, can I get a motion to accept the minutes of February 10th, please? Tom?
I move the council approve the minutes for the February 10th, 2025 Committee of the Whole meeting as presented.
Seconder, please. Stephanie? Comments? All in favor? Carried. Can I get a motion to accept the minutes of Drumheller District Seniors Foundation, please? Tom?
I move the council accept as information the Drumheller District Seniors Foundation January 23rd, 2025 organizational meeting and January 23rd, 2025 regular meeting minutes as presented.
Seconder, please. Patrick, comments? All in favor? Carried. Can I get a motion to accept the Municipal Planning Commission minutes, please? Tony?
I move that council accept as information the Municipal Planning Commission meeting minutes of October 3rd, 2024, December 18, 2024, January 9, 2025, January 23rd, 2025, and February 6, 2025 as presented.
Seconder, please. Stephanie, comments? All in favor? Carried. Can I get a motion to accept the Family and Community Support Services Committee meeting? Stephanie?
I move the council accept as information the Family and Community Support Services FCSS Committee meeting minutes of January 21st, 2025 as presented.
Seconder, please. Patrick, comments? All in favor? Carried. Again, just for the listening public, we put those minutes out here so that you can read them at your leisure, just for information purposes only. All right, let's move on to 7.1, please, and we will welcome Sergeant Harms to give us our RCMP Q3 report, please.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm going to touch on our third quarter report, and I actually made a later submission as well, requesting input from council regarding our detachment priorities. Every year at about this time, we revisit our current detachment priorities, and April 1st is the start of our next fiscal year. And if we want to make adjustments or changes to our detachment priorities, now's the time to do that, and we like to have those in place for April 1st. So when we think about changing or visiting our detachment priorities, we don't dare do that alone, just the RCMP. We actually do it through what I call mass consultation, and that consultation is done with people from the public, with partnership agencies, with elected officials, and so on, which is what brings me to you tonight. So I've had several community meetings, some partnership meetings. I've had 2 town hall meetings now. And one of my bigger tools that I like to use for public consultation is an online survey. So I'll touch on that in a moment. But before we talk about, possibly adjusting the detachment priorities, I just wanted to remind everyone what the current priorities are, and I've kind of listed those on the letter. So the first one was crime reduction with a focus on property crime. The second one was public engagement, transparency, and visibility. The third was reduce substance abuse, basically drugs, drug awareness, drug enforcement. And the fourth one was road safety and traffic safety. So those are the 4 priorities we have in place, and the public had helped us identify those last year. And then, just as another reminder, when we identify our priorities, then the detachment will identify initiatives on how we're going to address those priorities. So that's those sub points that you see on that letter there. I'm not going to go through all of them. It's there if you want to make reference to that. So that's the ones that are in place right now. So I am running a public survey. So if we can skip ahead to the survey page. So the page that you see on your screen there is a snapshot from our online survey, and that was done on March 4th. What I can tell you is I had a look at it this morning, and the survey is still open, so it could change a little bit. But I can tell you that it's near identical today as it was when I sent this in. The only slight difference is on the bar graphs that you can see before you. Drug enforcement and crime reduction are basically neck and neck. As of right now, the drug enforcement took a slight lead, so that is really the only difference to the bar graph. The pie chart at the top kind of represents who's participating in the survey, and about 84% of the people so far from the Drumheller Valley. So as of right now, we've only had 65 people respond to the survey. I think last year we had almost double that when we closed it off. Perhaps we'll get some more, I'm not sure, and I might even look at maybe extending the survey a little bit and getting some more input. But nevertheless, it gives us a good snapshot of kind of what the public is thinking when they respond to that survey. I can tell you, in addition to that survey, my discussions with some of our partnership agencies, my discussions at our town hall meetings are very consistent with what the survey is showing. And of no surprise, that survey is almost identical to what it was last year at this time when we ran it. So, so I just thought I would share that with you, to kind of arm you with that information when I'm asking about your input. The next page, if we could just skip over to the next page, was just kind of a snapshot of our current crime gauges, and the Drumheller Valley one is on the left. The one on the right is the rural area. But with our current priorities, we have seen a 24% decrease in crime in 2024 when compared to 2023. So I think we're on the mark with what we've been doing for priorities. By no means are the priorities 100% responsible for our current trends, but I think they most certainly contribute to them. So I'm not sure if council wants to give me, some thoughts tonight on that or get back to me with that, but I definitely wanted to get that discussion going so we could finalize our priorities before April 1st.
Before we go on, we'll just see if there's any comments. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, just a couple of comments regarding surveys, of course. I guess from my experience with surveys is that the participation rate is very often directly proportional to dissatisfaction. Uh, so when you don't have a lot of people responding to a survey, that is very often people are relatively satisfied with what's going on. So I wouldn't be too disappointed if you didn't get a whole big response, because I think that's quite possibly one of the factors is that people think that you're doing a great job, and so they don't have anything to complain about. The second thing I would just like to mention, when you look at communication and community presence and stuff like that, I get comments all the time. Well, I haven't seen a police car around here in a long time, and it's like, well, a lot of people don't realize that you do have unmarked vehicles. And just because they don't see a marked vehicle driving by, down their street, doesn't necessarily mean that a police vehicle hasn't been by there in a while. So that's something that I mention to people quite often. That
Yeah, thank you for that, and I do agree with you with respect to the survey. I have one thing I have learned over the years: if people are upset or dissatisfied, they will voice that for sure. So I would expect to see those numbers higher if that was the case. I do have a small comment section on the survey, which I'm not releasing that because some of the information on there kind of borderline, maybe a concern with. Let me put it this way: there's probably a degree of confidentiality to some of it. So that's something I'm not going to release to the public, but I can definitely get the pulse of some of the people through those comments. And there's very supportive comments, and there's some comments that cause me to think about how we're addressing certain things, and there's some comments in there that are not so supportive. So a little bit of a mix, but all in all, it's been very, very positive. I will say we do have our fair share of public town hall meetings. And like the survey, our numbers have been dwindling as far as people showing up for those. But I view it the same way. If people have concerns or they're, upset with something, I know that people will voice those concerns and they'll show up for those meetings. So I take that as a good sign as well. So I definitely agree with you. And yes, you are correct with respect to unmarked police vehicles. And we also have officers in plain clothes out in the community as well. So we are out there.
Thank you. Anybody else? Tony?
Yeah, just to comment, yeah, on the numbers, they are low. We still have time to hit 100 here yet, but I think the feedback so far and the priorities that have been outlined by the 60 some odd people are in line with mine as well, and I agree, especially to do with the drug enforcement and the crime reduction areas there. You guys have made significant progress over in the last year, two. Um, I think it still needs to be a priority item. Hate to take the eye off the ball there and get red arrows going back up, but your quarterly reports have been trending in the right way, and green arrows down are good, and red arrows up are not so good. But yeah,
Yep.
so I'm in agreement with what's been identified so far.
Thank you for that. And I'll just comment if I could. So I think the people that have participated in the survey and many that I've talked to know what they're talking about because so right now in the survey, the top five is drug enforcement, followed by property crime reduction, followed by impaired driving enforcement, followed by general traffic safety enforcement, and the fifth one is police visibility, transparency, and so on. And I really feel that the public knows what they're talking about because I think those are right on cue.
Anybody else? Yeah, absolutely support those. And I don't think those are going to change. No matter how many surveys you get, they're going to kind of go that direction. So,
Yeah. Okay,
Um,
very good.
anybody else on anything? All right. Do you have anything else you want to?
Okay. Yeah, I'll just touch on a couple points, and if
Perfect.
anyone has any further input on the priorities, by all means, everyone knows how to get a hold of me. Let me know. With respect to the original submission I made on the third quarter report, I'm not going to go through the whole report. I'm just going to touch on a couple bullet points that are found on page 2. Yeah, that page there. Staffing levels. So just so everyone's aware, we do have one vacancy on the municipal side. That was Constable Victor Eliskew's position when we moved him from our general duty side into the RPAC team. We wound up with a vacancy there, so we are trying to fill that. What you're not going to see on the report, because it happened in Q4, is Corporal Nick Clarabut with the GIS unit. He was awarded a promotion, and very quickly he was transferred out of the area. So we have a vacancy in our GIS section, but we're putting all that together as well. And I'm thinking in the fourth quarter I'll have some more news on kind of how that looks there. Other than that, for staffing levels, we still have a vacancy on the admin team side, which I know we've been talking about and looking at that, and we'll see where that goes. Again, yeah, the stats are all good. I'm not going to go through those, but total criminal code, we've seen a reduction of just over 24% across the board. So really, really happy with that. I do have a point on there, point number 4 about G7 security planning. So G7 is scheduled for June 12th to June 15th. I've been at these events myself in past years. They do result in quite a large police response, but we know we also see quite a significant increase in activity in those areas from the public. And we know some surrounding communities are going to be affected, including Calgary and so on. I've looked at this, like I don't know that Drumheller would be affected by that, but by all means, if council finds that we're going to see a big spike in population, let me know so we can kind of plan for that. But I'm not aware of anything right now. And the last thing, I know I've beat this one up for several reporting periods now, the body worn cameras. Not going to go into that, but the officers in Drumheller are all wearing them, and that's right across the board. So I put the QR code there for not only council, but for the public as well. If anyone has any questions about how these cameras are being used, if you scan that QR code, it goes to quite a large information page, and it's quite informative. So I would encourage people to do that. So other than that, I'm not going to go through all the statistics. Is there any questions about third quarter report or anything that I touched on?
Patrick?
Well, just with G7 security planning, you're talking about potential more activity in the area, but is there also a possibility of officers being seconded for it?
So that does exist. I don't know that that's going to happen out of Drumheller, but in large police responses, and we see it more like with floods and forest fires, there is the potential that that would happen. If that happens, and we're asked to provide officers, we do that very carefully. First of all, we make sure that it's not going to impact our day-to-day operations. Often, when we send officers to such events, they're on their time off, so there is no impact, to the day-to-day policing here. But if it happens, definitely it's something we'll do very, very carefully. And I will stress that our policing here will not be impacted, sort of thing. As of right now, I haven't had that request, so I don't know what's going to happen there.
Anybody else? Well done as usual. No, this is great, and I do love this summary discussion points.
Excellent.
I really do like that.
Alrighty.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, can I get a motion to accept that, Tony?
I move that council accept as information the RCMP Q3 2024-2025 municipal report as presented.
Seconder, please. Tom? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, well, that's the end of our agenda. We'll move on to closed session. Can I get a motion to go into closed session, please, Stephanie?
I move that council close the meeting to the public to discuss local public body confidences and advice from officials as per FOIP 23, local public body confidences, and FOIP 24, advice from officials.
Seconder, please. Patrick. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. All right. And we will see you next Monday. Enjoy the sunshine. Take care.